situation. I guess I should explain, huh? I bet you have no earthly idea what the hell a mail order bride even is. Up until a few months ago, I would have been just as confused as you are. I wish I'd never found out. During the pandemic, my job had gone completely remote. At first, it was a welcome change. All my newly acquired free time was like a breath of fresh air, until it turned sour. I became a shut-in. I slowly fell out of touch with my friends and family. Social events were a no-go. The only time I really left my house was on my weekly trip to the grocery store. The loneliness was killing me. I was browsing the internet one evening, as per usual, when an ad caught my eye. Worldview connections. Sick and tired of slimy dating apps. Sign up for a mail order bride. Your satisfaction is guaranteed, or your money back. Maybe that was worth looking into. I'd had zero luck on Tinder, unless you count the plethora of bots trying to add me to their Snapchats. I decided that it was worth a shot. I clicked on the advertisement. I was getting more and more intrigued the further I read. For a fee, this company would fly me out to meet women whom it deemed a good match for me, based on our attributes and interests. Of course, we'd need to hit it off over text or video chat first, which I had no qualms with. Money wasn't an issue for me, and I could use a vacation. What did I have to lose? I signed up for the service the next day. I was hooked up with a consultant. Jared seemed pleasant over the phone. It may have been an act, but he seemed like he genuinely wanted to help me find a partner. For the first time in years, it felt like I was making some real progress in my life, even if it was just a start. I won't bore you with the details. It took weeks, but eventually I found a woman who I felt a real spark with. Amelia and I hit it off right away. She was an absolute smoke show. Blonde hair, blue eyes, the works. I was smitten. After weeks of nightly video calls, we decided to meet. I was absolutely over the moon. I couldn't wait to tell Jared the good news. I called him the first chance I got. Eli, what's up, buddy? What can I do for you? Hey, Jared, I have some good news. Remember that girl you set me up with a few weeks ago? Amelia. A smile tugged at the corners of my lips. Just the mere mention of her name was enough to brighten my day. Of course. Wait, don't tell me. Is this the one? Like, the one? She sure is, man. I think we have a real connection. I'm ready to fly out to Paris to meet her. That is awesome. Congratulations, my friend. It's not a 100% guarantee that you're going to tie the knot yet, but in-person dates are the first step. I'm proud of you, E. Just shoot me a text with the days you do want to stay there and I'll book you a flight. Thanks, Jared, for everything. You're a godsend. You got it, buddy. Don't forget to fill me in on how it goes. Amelia and I decided to meet the following week. I had plenty of PTO saved up, so taking off work wasn't an issue. I was buzzing with excitement. Even if things didn't pan out, this whole experience felt like such a rush, one that I desperately needed. Now, I wish I would have stayed home. I was like a kid in a candy shop the whole day. It was like a veil had been lifted. Colors were more vibrant. Smells were stronger. Food tasted richer. If this was what being in love was, then I didn't ever want it to end. This trip to France was a long one. I had multiple connecting flights, and by the time I finally landed, I was pooped. I wasn't going to let that stop me, though. I texted Amelia the moment the plane touched down. Hey, I'm in your neck of the woods now. Can't wait to see you. Her response was almost immediate. That was one of the things I liked about her. Amelia was fantastic at communication. I'm glad you made it safely. Let me know when you're all settled into your hotel room, and I'll show you around. This was like a dream come true. I was getting to take a trip to Europe and meet up with a gorgeous woman. How did I get so lucky? I took a cab to my hotel and dropped off my things. The bed looked so comfortable. Maybe I could just rest my eyes for a few. No, I'd have plenty of time to sleep later. Amelia was waiting for me. I'm all checked in. Ready when you are. Awesome. I'll be there in 15. I can't wait to see you. My heart fluttered. This was really happening. I could hardly contain my jubilation as I sprinted down to the lobby and plopped into a chair. This was it, the moment of truth. 15 minutes came and went. 16, 17, 18. When 20 minutes passed by with no text from Amelia, I was starting to get worried. Did I come all this way just to get stood up? My heart plummeted into my stomach. I knew this whole thing seemed too good to be true. I stood up dejectedly and prepared to return to my room. You ever just want to curl up into a ball and die? Take that feeling, then magnify it by 40 and you'll feel a fraction of my disappointment. I could feel the tears welling up in my eyes. One began to trickle down my cheek as I trudged to the elevator. Then I heard it. Eli, over here. I whipped around, quickly swiping a tear from my face, and there she was. Amelia looked even more beautiful in person. She'd curled her hair, her blue eyes shimmered like the ocean, and her smile was enough to melt my heart. I couldn't stop a big goofy grin from inching across my lips at the sight of her. Amelia, it's so good to finally meet you, I said, wrapping her into a tight embrace. She gladly reciprocated. I wished that moment could have lasted forever. When we finally let go, I tried to steady my palpitating heart. Truth be told, that was the first physical contact I'd had with a woman in, well, let's just say it had been a while. So I heard you needed a tour guide, Amelia giggled. Sure do, I said, shooting her a wink. After you, m'lady. Alright, looking back on it, that was pretty cringe, but she thought it was funny, okay? Amelia and I had the night of our lives. We had some of the best pasta I've tried in my entire life. We rode an open-top, double-decker bus around the heart of Paris, and we even kissed under the Eiffel Tower. Cheesy, I know, but I had my love blinders on. Amelia, this has been the best first date I've ever been on. Tonight has been incredible, I said, on our way to hail a cab. I could feel my cheeks burning bright red. Oh, you probably say that to all your girls, she quipped, lightly punching me on the shoulder. You caught me. I'm a real womanizer, I said, firing a finger gun at her. A finger gun? What was I thinking? Never, ever do that. With moves like that, I'm not surprised. You know me, the epitome of cool. So, there's something that I want to ask you, and I don't really know how to say it without coming off as a weirdo. She locked eyes with me, a soft, yet stern look overtaking her countenance. Eli, whatever it is, it's okay. You can talk to me. What is it you want to ask? I smiled. This girl really was perfect. Do you want to spend the night with me? Nothing sexual or anything like that. I was wondering, like, maybe you'd want to cuddle, or... Yes, I want to. I was glad she cut me off. I was stumbling over my words worse than Popeye the Sailor Man. We made it back to the hotel and headed straight for my room. I could feel my eyelids drooping. The exhaustion was catching up to me. Amelia hours, and I fell asleep with her snuggled up next to me. I couldn't imagine a more perfect end to such an amazing night. I awoke to a pitch-black room. My eyes gradually adjusted to the darkness, the static slowly clearing from my vision. I tried to move my head, but I couldn't. Dread swallowed me like an anaconda. I had sleep paralysis. My eyes darted rapidly around the room. I took a deep breath. I needed to calm down. Everything was fine. I began to assess my situation. I could feel the weight of Amelia's slender body pressed against my chest. That worked to ease my mind. I was glad she was there. Just as I closed my eyes and started to drift back to sleep, Amelia shifted. She repositioned herself close to my ear and started to whisper, "I'm going to kill you. I want to skin you alive. I'm going to snap your neck." My heart began thumping furiously against my chest. What the hell was I listening to? The girl of my dreams was murmuring the nastiest, most vile things I could imagine, and I couldn't do a thing about it. I could tell that she was still asleep by the light rise and fall of her chest, and the wispy, dreamlike tone of her voice, but what if she was faking it? I couldn't be sure. I was forced to lie there, paralyzed, listening to those horrible words spewing from her mouth like venom. There was no way I'd be able to get back to sleep with that, but eventually I must have. I hesitantly opened my eyes. My ears were instantly assaulted with an awful barrage of humming. Actually, it didn't sound awful at all. It was kind of enchanting, actually. I sat up in bed. Amelia was standing at the other end of the room in a bathrobe. Her hair was up in a towel, and she was brewing a pot of coffee. So, last night, did I make that all up? Was it just the sleep paralysis playing tricks on me? I wasn't sure that I wanted to know the answer. "Good morning," Amelia giggled, snapping me from my stupor. "Morning," I said, rubbing my eyes. "How'd you sleep?" "Like a rock. You're so comfortable that I was out like a light the moment I sank into your chest. What about you?" I rubbed the back of my neck. I slept fine. This might sound like a strange question, but what? Hit me with it. Do you ever talk in your sleep? She paused, mulling it over. No, no one's ever told me that. Why do you ask? Oh, no reason. Just forget I said anything. I think I just had a weird dream. She shrugged, turning back to the steaming pot of coffee in front of her. Maybe I had imagined the whole thing. I've heard some strange stories about sleep paralysis after all. Whatever the case, I made a mental note to keep my guard up. The rest of the day was a breeze. We visited the Louvre, chowed down on baguettes, and ended our romantic evening with a wine tasting. It felt like a dream. All the terror I'd felt from the night before had been pushed right out of my mind. Until bedtime rolled around. That evening I again found myself lying with Amelia watching some corny show that I didn't care to pay attention to. I tried to stay up just a little longer to observe Amelia's behavior, but I was exhausted. I still hadn't caught up on sleep from the flight, and it was really taking a toll. I didn't even remember drifting off, but I suddenly found myself staring up at the ceiling. Everything was dark, save for the faint glow of the television screen. I began to hyperventilate. This couldn't be happening. Not again. My eyes frantically darted around the room, or the ceiling, I guess I should say. I couldn't believe that I was having sleep paralysis. paralysis for a second night straight. I mean, what are the odds of that? I'd never had that issue before. Just as the thought crossed my mind, I heard it, whispering. This time the words were clearer. They were more malicious, somehow more heinous than the night before, and I was absolutely terrified. I hate you. I want you dead. I'm going to slit your throat. I want you to suffer. I'm going to chop you up into little pieces and feed you to the pigs. I wanted to fight, to run, to scream, but I could do none of that. I was trapped. I don't know how long I endured that torment. My persecutor was relentless. She just wouldn't let up. Whether I passed out from exhaustion or fear, I have no clue, but when I did wake up, Amelia was humming that same familiar tune. I hesitantly pried open my eyes, half expecting to find some twisted evil figure standing at the foot of my bed, but that's not what I saw. Amelia was sitting on the edge of my bed, just staring at the wall. What should I do? Was she waiting for me to wake up so she could torture me or something? I'm terrified. I'm typing this on my phone, praying that she hasn't noticed me. Any advice would be greatly appreciated, because I can't fathom the amount of suffering that I'm going to endure if Amelia decides to act on her nightly urges. On to part two. Okay, part two is called I Signed Up for a Mail Order Bride. Things have taken a turn for the worst. Hey everyone, I've got an update for you, and it's not good. Hey, Amelia. She slowly turned to face me. She didn't look evil. In fact, she looked comforting. The warm smile stuck to her lips, sent a pang of guilt jolting through me. What if Amelia had done nothing wrong? What if I was having some mental break due to finally spending time with a woman after such a long time? I decided to give her the benefit of the doubt. I didn't want to throw away something good if I was actually the one to blame. What's up, babe? My cheeks blossomed with color. That was the first time either of us had used pet names. Never mind. Don't worry about it, babe, I said, shooting her a wink. We didn't have much planned for that day. Though I was enjoying my time with Amelia, I just couldn't rid my mind of the previous night. What started out like a dream was devolving into a nightmare. I didn't know what to do. Eventually, I figured it out. I needed to stay awake. I had to know if Amelia was truly the sweet, loving girl I thought she was, or if she was someone else entirely. Amelia continued showing me around, until eventually I asked to stop in a store to relieve myself. She agreed, and I watched as she made her way to the women's restroom. My plan was going off without a hitch. The moment the door clicked shut, I scooped up a handful of 5-hour energy drinks and bolted to the counter. I was sweating bullets as I handed the shop owner my cash. If I wasn't quick, the jig would be up. The old woman smiled at me as she handed me my change. I hurriedly stuffed the little bottles into my pockets, and not a moment too soon, Amelia emerged from the restroom looking refreshed. I beamed at her. Ready to go, she nodded, and we were on our way. Amelia was the one who proposed it. She casually tossed the suggestion out between forkfuls of fettuccine alfredo. So, I was thinking, do you want to come back to my apartment tonight? The hotel is comfy and all, but I thought you might want to see my place. A sinking feeling of dread gnawed at my intestines like a wolverine. I liked this girl, I really did. So why was my gut telling me that I should say no? I couldn't formulate a plan in time. Yeah, sure thing, I blurted out. Amelia grinned as she took another bite of her said I wasn't slightly petrified. I'd been popping 5-hour energy drinks every chance I got, so that probably wasn't helping my anxiety, but just the thought of waking up paralyzed again, or not waking up at all, was shredding my mental health to pieces. I had a slight tremor in my hands on the ride back to Amelia's apartment, and she noticed. "Eli, is everything okay? You seem jittery." Shit, I needed to put on a straight face. "Yeah, everything is fine. Just nerves, you know. This is the first time I'm getting to see your apartment. Who wouldn't be excited?" She giggled, covering her mouth with her hand. "You're a goober. I like that about you," she said, gently interlacing my quivering fingers with hers. I could feel my face turning red. She was making it really difficult to be suspicious of her. When we finally arrived, I opened the cab door for Amelia and helped her out. She was slowly beginning to melt my apprehension. I hadn't noticed anything out of the ordinary for the whole day, after all. Her apartment was nice, like, really nice. The place was furnished with expensive couches and armchairs. It was surprisingly spacious, and to top it all off, she had a balcony that provided an incredible view of the city. Honestly, I was a tad bit envious. "Really nice place you got here," I said, once she was done giving me a thorough walkthrough. "Thank you. I take pride in my home. There's one room I haven't shown you yet, though," she yawned, drowsiness sweeping over her countenance. My heart plummeted into my gut. Crap. Was it bedtime already? I glanced down at my watch. 11 p.m. I knew what I needed to do. "Mind if I use the restroom first? Been holding it for a little bit." "Sure, right down the hall." I nonchalantly sauntered to the bathroom. The second the door clicked shut, I emptied the rest of the 5-hour energy drinks from my pocket. 2 left. That would have to do. I downed them and placed the empty bottles in the trash can as quietly as possible. I covered them with toilet paper to hide my tracks. Genius, right? "Alright, sweetheart, what is it that you wanted to show me?" Amelia burst into laughter. What is that face?" she wheezed, hands over her stomach. I blushed, my cheeks burning red. "I don't know, I thought it would be hot or something." She glanced up at me, tears in her eyes from her laughing fit. "You looked constipated. You really are something else. Come on, hot stuff," she said, finally regaining her composure. Amelia took my hand and led me to a room at the end of the hall. She pushed open the door, revealing her bedroom. It was even nicer than the rest of the apartment. The room was spotless. A desk lay in the corner with a computer perching atop it. A fish tank sat on her dresser, foreign specimens of fish swimming lazily among the steady hum of the filter. In her bed, Amelia had a queen-sized bed with pristine white linens that took up a good portion of the room. It looked as if it was made of clouds. Crap. Anyone would have a tough time staying awake in a bed that comfortable. Amelia stretched her arms high above her head. When she lowered them back down, her exhaustion became evident. Her eyelids were drooping and she had a vacant stare. "I don't know about you, but I'm ready for bed. I'm worn out," Amelia said, shooting me a weak smile. I returned one back. Had Amelia been falling asleep before me every night? Maybe she really wasn't up to anything. Same. Ladies first. I soon found myself snuggled up under the blankets with Amelia in my arms. The bed was as comfortable as it looked. Fortunately for me, the energy drinks had my heart pounding harder than an MMA fighter. I wasn't going to dreamland anytime soon. I don't even know how long I laid there, fighting off sleep. It felt like an eternity, but if I had to guess, I'd say it was an hour tops. That's when it happened. Amelia squeezed my eyes shut and steadied my breathing. I couldn't afford to let her find out that I was faking it. I heard rustling noises from the edge of the bed. It sounded like someone was rummaging through a desk drawer, but what chilled me to my core was the whispering. Amelia had started mumbling to herself, just loud enough for me to discern what she was saying. This is it. Tonight's the night. I'm gonna pluck out your eyes and chew them like gumballs. I can't wait to strip the flesh from your bones and feel it slither down my throat. I'm just itching to carve out your heart and cook it over an open flame. Fear crashed over me like a tidal wave. I'd been right all along. I had to know. I opened my eyes just enough to see what was going on. Amelia was rifling through her purse. I watched curiously as she found what she was looking for. She held up a little plastic box. I could feel the color drain from my face as she opened it. Inside was a syringe and a tiny bottle of clear liquid. No, no, no. This couldn't be happening. Had all that, the outings, the intimacy, the invitation to her apartment, had it all been a part of some elaborate plan to murder me? I had to get out of there. I rolled onto my stomach and let out a light groan. Out of my periphery, I saw Amelia hurriedly close the plastic box and hide it behind her back. It was now or never. I yawned loudly, rubbing my eyes and slowly opening them as if I'd been woken naturally. It was slight, but for a second I could see disappointment wash over her visage before she returned to her normal jovial self. Oh, sorry, babe, did I wake you? I was looking for my sleeping pills. Body's tired, but my mind's wide awake, you know. She giggled anxiously. The laugh that I found adorable just hours prior now disgusted me. This woman was an absolute monster. No, I think I just have to pee. I'll be right back, I said, sliding out of bed. I discreetly grabbed my phone on the way. Sure thing. Hurry back now. I'll get cold without your cuddles. I locked eyes with her, nodded warmly, and slipped out the door. I bolted straight out of there. I didn't care if I was in nothing but my boxers. I had to put as much distance between myself and Amelia as humanly possible. I ran and ran until I thought I was a safe enough distance away. I doubled over, struggling to catch my breath before calling the police. They didn't believe me, of course, because pretty blonde women can't be serial killers, right? They did at least bring me back to the hotel, I'll give them that. That's where I am now. I've called Jared, but whenever I do, I get an automated message telling me that his phone number has been disconnected. I've tried contacting the company that he works for, but I can't find anything about it online. It's as if it never existed. I don't know what to do. I left my wallet at Amelia's apartment, and without that I can't pay for an early flight home. But that's not what truly terrifies me. Amelia is still out there, searching, and she knows exactly where to find me. That was a really good story. Thank you for being here. I really enjoy stories from Horror Junkie. He's a really good writer. They are a really good writer. I don't know if there's stories from both perspectives, so I don't know. But this was a really good story. I love the mail order bride aspect because you don't hear about that all the time, and making it horror is a good idea. I don't know, but I really fuck with it. But my jaw literally dropped when they said that she pulled out the syringe, like, oh, she had been drugging him the other nights. But maybe that's not what he intended will see how hard this is to edit and get the sound right.